What's going on, everyone? Chris here with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal, and I had an idea last night to make this video because I was watching some of my older YouTube videos where I talk about if I had to start again, what would I do differently based on my experience. And I wanted to go ahead and make one talking about what I would do if I had to start this business from scratch tomorrow with nothing. If I had no truck, no equipment, nothing. How would I go about it step by step? I configured it into 10 steps. Somehow it always ends up being like 10 steps, but that's what I got it down into. I'm going to try to keep it simple because a lot of the details will come with experience over time. So we're just going to try to keep this as simple as possible. But getting right into it, the first thing I would do before getting into any of the steps is do your market research. Figure out, is junk removal even going to be profitable in your area? Look up junk removal near me. If there's a franchise near you within like a 10-15 mile radius, there's a good chance that you're good to go. They do not open up shop in places where they're not going to profit. So that's a good sign. Next, I would try to find out general pricing. Now, the main pricing point I would focus on is your full load. The reason why is majority of junk removal is a small progressive load up to the full load price. Usually the smaller the load, the more expensive it is. So if your area's full load is $300, you can probably guess that all of your price points are going to be between 100 and 300. If your full load price is 500, your price points are probably going to be between high 100s all the way up to 500. If you're in California and New York where it's 1,000, you're probably going to be around the 2 to 300 range up to 1,000, and you're basically just picking out little gaps in between. So figure that stuff out first. Find out how much your dump charges to get rid of stuff. What is your minimum? How much is it to get rid of construction debris, vegetation, and trash, so that you can use that when you start doing jobs, and then get a good idea of where everything is just in general area. So is it going to take you 45 minutes to drive out to the dump, and then 30 minutes to get back over to where donation area is, and then 45 minutes back home? That's a lot of time wasted, and that's a lot of fuel. So you may want to look into better ways to operate without having to waste time and fuel, because those are costs that you're eventually going to start dealing with a lot of. So that is your market research. Now, I did say no equipment, but I'm going to assume that you have some kind of basic tools around your house, like a hammer, screwdrivers, Allen wrenches, socket wrenches, pliers, needle nose, wire cutters, all your just your typical little tools. If you don't, you can buy them from Walmart in like a set for like 20-30 bucks. The power drill would be nice to have if you can. We'll get into the other equipment later on, but that's your basic. And in addition, I am assuming if you're choosing to do a labor-based service, either as a side hustle or a business, I would like to assume that you have some kind of general strength to pick up an item of 100 pounds or more, and or you know how to use general moving equipment like a hand truck or a dolly to move said item. You don't have to be a professional mover like I was, but you have to have some general concept. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time at some point. Not all junk removal is small, easy, basic trash. A lot of times they're dealing with big, bulky furniture. So that is what I would anticipate ahead of time. Getting into the first step, marketing. What I would do is focus solely on Nextdoor and Facebook. What I would do is add myself to the local groups on both sites, and I would run through the post every single morning, maybe in the afternoon, and then at night I would run through those local posts looking for people asking about junk removal or moving. The reason I specified moving is junk removal usually goes hand in hand. So for example, let's say somebody says, hey, I'm going to be moving soon. Does anyone have a recommendation for a mover? If you don't know anybody, look up moving near you on Google, find one that has high ratings of reviews, comment it down. You're not doing anything wrong. They have high ratings. If you're looking for a movie company, you probably pick the same thing. Comment down below in the name, and then underneath it say, by the way, if you want to haul away any of your unwanted items before or after your move, or if you have a bunch of boxes afterwards you want to discard, we do junk removal, would be happy to help. Comment down your name and your phone number. Now, what you are doing right there is not only marketing to that person, but you're also marketing to everybody who goes and clicks on that thread and sees those comments. Moving is a popular industry and a popular service. There's a good chance that a lot of people are going to be commenting on that, which means all those people are seeing your comment. Even if they don't need you right now, they might in the future. They may have gone there for moving and they saw you and think, oh, I could use junk removal, and give you a call. Now you're going to do this, and you might not get any calls right away, but you're going to do this on both platforms as much as possible. When you do get a call, cool, next step, get a truck. Not go out and buy a truck. You're going to get a rental truck, either U-Haul, Home Depot, Penske, Budget, whatever you have near you, whatever is most affordable. Don't get a great big 26-foot truck. Just get a basic little truck, pickup truck, whatever you need to get the job done. Preferably, you would know what you're going to pick up the stuff first, whether they need to send you pictures or whatnot. I would get the truck, and then I would also rent their equipment, whether that is a hand truck and a dolly or an appliance dolly. Rent it ahead of time. Remember, we don't have any equipment besides basic tools here, so rent that equipment so you can use it on the job. So that way when you go back and drop it off, you're done, clean slate. Now the next step is, once you've done the job, you want to maximize your profit and save money. Do whatever you can to donate first, sell stuff online, bring stuff by a consignment shop, whatever you need to do to save on the dump fees, plus make a little extra side money. You're going to do this every single job as much as possible. You'd be surprised what some places will take even though it looks like trash. It's okay. Get rid of as much as you can to save on those dump fees, especially if your market research showed that you had high dump fees, maybe a high minimum. It might cost you $100 to go drop off one couch at the dump. You're going to want to know that ahead of time before you go charging someone $95 to go pick up a couch. So know your cost first and then maximize that. The next step is to keep your customers' information somewhere. Keep their name, phone number, address, and if you can, an email. The reason why is eventually you're going to reach back out to them, especially people who move or just moved. Reach them out to them in a couple months and say, hey, just wanted to check in with you. We helped you declutter before or after your last move. Wanted to see if you have anything new you need to get rid of. If not, hope you're having a great experience in your new home, whatever. A lot of people tend to buy furniture within the first 6 months of moving into a new place because either their old furniture didn't quite fit or it doesn't quite match their new style. So they'll go out and buy something new, which means now they have something at their house they don't want anymore or need, and that's where you can come in and haul it away. So you are building up to a repeat business. And on top of that, usually people will refer you out when they're happy with their services more than once. So that's good for you. And people can leave you reviews on Nextdoor and Facebook. So that would also be very helpful if you have some credibility when people are looking you up on those two platforms. And then in addition to your customer log, you're also going to set up a pay structure. So what I would do personally is pay back all of your expenses for that job. Your disposal, your rental truck, your rental equipment, your fuel, all that stuff. Set it aside, pay it off so you're back to zero. Now, that leftover margin, you can do two things. If you want to be aggressive with growing, I would pay yourself half and then put the other half towards profit. If you're not as aggressive and you're just doing this as like for fun and side hustle, whatever, then I would put a quarter towards profit and 3/4 to pay yourself. So following up with profit, the next thing you want to do is save up enough to upgrade your equipment. So I would say about $150, $200 should get you a decent hand truck and a decent four-wheeler dolly that's going to last you a while. I would go get those. I would get yourself some contractor bags. So if you get a job where you need to pick up a bunch of small stuff, you can pile it all on there and then go load it. So you're not having to sit there and shovel off trash at the dump, and it's going to save you a lot of time and energy. But I would start by doing that. And by doing that, you are going back to step 3, which is saving money, because now you don't have to worry about renting equipment every job. Let's say on average, a hand truck is $10 to rent and a dolly is $7 to rent. You're saving $17 every time you do a job by having your own equipment. So if you spent, let's say, $200 on your equipment, that equipment is going to be paid off in 10 jobs. And then after that, you're just making money off of it. So it pays to get your own equipment, but I would do it in a way where you're not starting off in debt. So it's a slow growth in the beginning. Now, the next step is going to take a little bit of time, but it is to save up to get your own pickup truck. I would go used unless you are okay with financing a vehicle. I would continue with that profit window, for 6 months to a year. Or if you want to move it quicker, finance it, unless you just have money saved, or if you're really busy, great. Use that profit to go buy yourself a used truck. If you want to finance, do that, whatever. But once you get that truck, most truck beds, they have the little stake pockets in the rails. Pop them out, put in stakes, build wood sides on the truck, sand it down, paint it, make it look nice and clean, and then get some stencil letters and put your phone number and junk removal on both sides. What you have just created is a miniature vehicle to now haul all of your small jobs instead of renting a truck, at least for your smaller jobs. If you get a big job, go rent a truck. But this way you can handle a good chunk on your own, and you can also now do deliveries, which is pretty much the same ball field. You're doing the same thing with the same equipment, except now you have to be worried about the piece. But this way you can make some extra side money. Now, step 7 is if you plan on making this a business. If you plan on going full-fledged with this, of course you need to deal with stuff legally. You need to come up with a name, a logo, you need to come up with a website, and you need to file everything with the IRS and file everything with your state and your county and do all that fun stuff. Figure out what kind of entity and business you want to do, but you're going to Google that and find that out on your own. I'm not going to get into those details. Now, after you do all that fun stuff, you want to make sure you are on all social media platforms. You're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Nextdoor, everything you can possibly get on for free, even if you don't plan on using it often. Just get on there, get your information on there, get your logo in the picture, get your website somewhere on there. All you're doing is building SEO overall. Now, SEO is search engine optimization, which basically is saying that when people search for junk removal near me, your name is more likely to pop up versus the big franchises. Now, it's hard to rank high when you're not paying for it, but it can happen over time, and that's what you're going to do, is start building that traction. So you're just trying to get your name everywhere the best you can for free. Don't start paying for stuff quite yet. Now, once you get everything figured out and you have a name and logo and all that fun stuff, you're going to want to get business cards and at least flyers to start with. I would go to UZ Marketing, which is a company in Texas. They have a website, don't worry. They do free shipping, which is a huge plus. They price match on top of that if it's another illegitimate business. And they're pretty cheap. I used Vistaprint in the beginning. 500 business cards is like $48. You can get 1,000 at UZ Marketing for $28 and some change. That's a good freaking price. Flyers are pretty cheap as well. So you start there. I'll have a link in the description so you can go check them out, look at their products. They have junk removal as a service already listed. You click on that. It shows you the templates already made for each type of product. All you have to do is edit in your information. Saves you a ton of time and headache trying to design a card to your liking. Just keep it simple in the beginning. You can buy and upgrade your cards later on. Now, step number 8, we're going to go back to saving again. You're going to start saving for a utility trailer, double axle, just a regular trailer. If you want to buy used, it's up to you. If you want to buy new, up to you. Double axle utility trailer. The reason you're not jumping right to a dump trailer is because it costs $12,000. They're expensive. So start with a regular utility trailer. They're usually like $1,000 to $3,000 depending on the size and where you get it from, or if you get it used or new. The next step is to build wood sides on it. YouTube, wood side build on utility trailer. There are thousands of videos of people doing this. They do breakdowns of how much material you need, how much it costs, so on and so on. The only thing I would recommend is try to make it as clean and sturdy as possible. Don't just put on 2 pieces of plywood with a ratchet strap. There's a good chance it's going to fly off on the highway. It doesn't look good when you're pulling up to houses. Try to look as professional as you can, even if you're not quite there yet. It's going to go a long way, I assure you. But try to do like a nice paint, sand it down if you need to. Get some big stencils like you have on your side bills on the truck, and now put them on the trailer. Junk removal, maybe list off a couple of services, phone number, big letters. So that way, everywhere you drive, you now have a giant mobile billboard. It is a game changer when it comes to marketing. It is huge to be sitting at a red light, and somebody turns around and takes a picture and calls you and says, "Hey, I saw you on so-and-so intersection. I need my house cleaned up." And then you go do a $3,000 job. It is a big deal. So the faster you can do that, the better. But again, if you want to avoid debt, I would do slow and grow and build your profit level first. Now, step number 9, if you notice, I haven't said anything about help yet. Hire help. If you can do all of this on your own and build up to a good standing foundation before you need to hire help, you might need help from here to there on larger, more complicated jobs or for time purposes. I would hire out a friend or a family member. If your state allows it, which you have to look up, you can hire out a subcontractor and 1099 them once you pay them more than $600 a year. But until then, try to do what you can on your own. It's going to maximize your profit to the roof. It is a great thing to do if you are able to on your own. Just make sure you are safe. You can YouTube moving techniques, how to move a couch. I have videos about how to move certain things, but you can YouTube how to move a couch, how to move a table, how to move a recliner, how to move a refrigerator on your own. People will show you all these little neat tricks that you can do to maximize your technique without having to pay somebody 20, 30, 40 bucks an hour to be there with you. So there is always a way around it, and there are things you can do. So start there. And then the last step is to rinse and repeat all of those steps. Continue to grow. Do the best you can to maximize your profit and keep your expenses low, as long as time doesn't become more valuable. In the beginning, you should be able to do all these things and your time isn't as much of an issue. The more you grow, the more time is going to be more valuable, and you're going to want to start expediting. You're going to want to start just skipping right to the next step. That's okay as you grow. But that is what I would personally do if I had to start off tomorrow with nothing. That is how I would grow myself if I had to restart. So hopefully that answers a good chunk of questions when it comes to starting up junk removal. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, comment it down below. I'll do the best to answer in my experience and in my opinion as possible. So hopefully that helps, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.